This episode of the Quit Your 9 to 5 podcast show is brought to you by the Quit Your 9 to 5 Academy. Are you a struggling entrepreneur who's still stuck at a day job and want out? If you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 life for good, to do what you're really passionate about, let us show you how to monetize your passion into a business that keeps you happy and makes you money. Visit quityour9to5academy.com for your free exit plan strategy guide.
Are you ready to quit your 9 to 5 and pursue your passion full time? We'll show you how. Create a business doing what you love. You're listening to the Quit Your 9 to 5 podcast with your hosts, Tamisha and Damian Duncan.
So first of all, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for spending time to talk with us today. I'm really excited to actually speak with you guys because you guys are the first couple that I've seen, besides, I know there's a lot of couples out there that work together, but, young couples that look like us that are working together and killing it. So first of all, I want you guys to tell the audience a little bit about yourselves and what you do. I've seen your amazingness and, all the stuff that you guys do, but I want you to talk to the audience from your own words about who you are and what you guys do together.
Already arguing, huh?
Already, right? We're a graphic design studio. Okay, so we are originally we came out. We were the Evbuomwan, and then we eventually switched over to House of Evbuomwan, and became a graphic design studio after I got out of the military, and we've gone from part-time to now just full-time. Like, this is our bread and butter. This is what we do to sustain ourselves.
Totally, yeah. What I would say is we are a graphic design studio we help creative individuals or creative entrepreneurs share their stories through design, brand identity, and web design and development. So that's what we do. I think as of a year now, we've been doing it for full-time for a year now. So, yeah.
Nice. March.
Yeah, March.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So did one kind of start the business and brought the other one on, or is this something that you guys kind of met each other on? Like, how did you guys start the business together?
We started this together. Yeah. Been married. Yeah, we started it when we were living in Hawaii 2 years ago. I always knew I was good at design. He had all the fundamentals, like he knew Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and things of that nature. I was designing on my phone, and he pretty much kind of we put.
Yeah, a lot of our earlier designs was done on her phone.
Yeah, on my phone.
Wow. See, so to the Quit Your 9 to 5 listeners, there's no excuse.
Exactly.
No excuse.
If you own a smartphone, there's a possibility to do anything.
Exactly.
Yes, there is.
So so he had the fundamentals of knowing the really high-end software systems, and I had the creativity. We kind of brought that together, and yeah, we're here now.
Wonderful. So I heard you say that you guys lived in Hawaii. So was that because you guys were traveling with the military, or tell us a little bit about what you did before you started this amazing business?
Okay, so originally, when we got married in 2011, we really didn't necessarily know per se what we were going to do.
That's the life of an entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen.
So I knew it was. We already talked about going to the military prior to getting married, because I had already spoken with a recruiter and everything. But then once we got married, then we decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and go through with it. So then I went and I joined the military. Then after basic training, my first duty station was stationed in Hawaii, which is Hickam, Pearl Harbor, and we did that for about a year and some change.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, and then I went through some things with the military as far as testing goes, and then they was doing a little government shutdown and trimming nonsense. So I kind of fell within, some weird, I guess, pocket in a sense. So then they would ask me, hey, if you want to get out, there's your chance, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Shoot, as long as I retain my benefits, I don't care.
Yeah.
Cases.
Totally.
So then,
freedom.
when we realized we was getting out,
we kind of had to hustle hard.
What are we going to do? Okay, so then, that's when we came up with our first ever, us being out there as far as graphic design goes, we decided to do like this special like logos.
That's all I could do at that time.
That's what kind of
phone. Yeah, on my phone. Well, at that time, I was still doing some on my phone, but then he was like, you know what? We had a great amount of a really nice amount of inquiries that came in. So that's when I had to kind of like transition to creating logos on Photoshop. That's what I knew then. But so I had to go through a complete crash course of just designing in Photoshop. Fell in love with it, and we just kind of did this logo special. And I had like every inquiry that came in, we took, because we just had to, because we're getting out of the military. We had like literally like the time that we found out that he was getting out from the time that we actually got out was like a 3 to 4 month period. Mm-hmm. So we had to hustle hard and really like kind of just saved everything that came in to prepare to move to Georgia. So it was like crunch time. It was crazy.
Wow, that's a lot happening in a small period of time. Yeah, especially with him having the foundational elements and you kind of just learning how to use those processes, because that's how most of us kind of start. We start kind of playing around and dibbling and dabbling in little things, but we don't know the technical side of things, and so you got to retrain your brain in a sense to learn how to figure things out.
Yes, definitely. I always loved, like you said when I was younger, save magazines and be obsessed with typography and love photos and things of that nature, and just putting just colors and things together. Never knew exactly what it would be called or what I would be doing or what that job actually was, or if that makes sense. So I was a psychology student for a long time, and I was in school for psychology because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do, because it was a traditional career, it was a traditional route. So I was in school, but at the same time having this love for design. So he kept pushing me like, why won't you just go to school for design? I'm like, no, because I'll do that on the side, and then I'll just do psychology in my own private practice. All in the while, God had a totally different plan for us, because this is definitely what I love now. This is what we both love. And I would design in my sleep. I love it. I would do it for free if I could. Like, if it was not a reason to even get paid for it, I would. So I love it.
And that's always great when you find something that you're doing and you're so passionate about it that you would do it for free. You would do it, and I tell my clients that all the time, like, they're like, what should I do with myself? Sometimes, you don't know what you want to do, but it got to be something that's passion driven, because if it's not, then you're going to just keep jumping from, piddle to post, trying this, trying that. Sometimes you got to do that to figure out what it is that you really want to do. But,
And when you're doing something you're passionate about, you're actually living in your purpose.
Yes, you are, and it feels right, and everything feels right. That what you're doing in that, when you're in that purpose,
things are easier when you're doing something that you like.
Yes,
if it's something that you love to do, getting up every day is not an issue. I mean, when you work that regular 9 to 5, sometimes you're like, I gotta go to work. Yeah, I'm tired. Like, well, I gotta go down there, I gotta clock in, I gotta deal with this person, blah blah blah. So
traffic, yeah.
So it's just a lot of drama. But when you're doing something that you actually like,
I mean, I wouldn't say a headache comes with that, but you are, like, when you are an entrepreneur, you definitely are the customer service rep, the manager, the business person, the finance person, until you actually are able to afford or get a team. Right. You're in place of all those things. We have actually, as of last year, we bumped heads a lot, and we can talk about that, but we bumped heads a lot where we thought that, like, what is your role? What do you have to do? So we bumped heads because he's a designer as well. But I knew that, ultimately, I had a vision. He has one too, don't get me wrong. But a vision for aesthetically how the brand wanted to look and what type of clientele we wanted to bring in.
Our aesthetics are different.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys, they're talking our language now, because that's the same thing that he and I fight about all the time, because everything that I do, he's like, look, everything that we do doesn't have to have a bombshell brand look to it, because that's my branding agency and I know how I want my brand to look. And so, we both have great ideas. We both are, coaches, and we teach people how to do business, but we have a different way of aesthetics.
We have different levels of aesthetics, logistics.
Yes.
But when it boils down to it with me, it's all about transformation.
I'll spend hours on how things look, whereas he's like, listen,
let's go, let's transform,
put it out, and let's keep it moving. So I totally can relate to that with you guys bumping heads. But at the end of the day, he is your partner. He's your main partner, and same, she's your partner, and for us. So whatever we say we're not going to steer each other wrong. But it can be challenging when you're trying to run a business in a home with your mate, your partner, whatever it is. Our dynamics are a little bit are a little bit different too because we have 2 small kids at home. So
that drives us crazy.
Yeah. We gotta be parents, and you'll probably hear me a couple of times during this podcast like, shut up, stop, close the door, because they don't understand we're doing business right now. They want to play. So you've got to be able to have a good work-life balance going.
And as we said that, we just got the side eye from one of our sons just now.
Oh, we look forward to that one day.
Very entertaining. They will definitely keep you on your toes. So you were in the military initially. So when you knew that you had an out to kind of get out the military, did you know that this is the direction you wanted to go, or did you just kind of play into your strengths and say, well, we've got something here, so let's kind of let it see where it takes us?
It was a little bit of both. We definitely, I'm more of a strategic type person, so which is hence why I went to the military. So one of the things when I realized that she's good at it, I'm like, okay, well, you're good at it. We need to go ahead and start making a little bit of money off of it, because there are people out here who can do that.
Right.
And there are people who would pay top dollar for a good design. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I did my own little thing. I have my own little designs here and there, whatever the case is. But then when I realized people gravitated towards her aesthetic, they just love what she do. I'm like, well, here you go. This is it. I'll go ahead. And then that's when we kind of realized, okay, we need to start figuring out what our roles were. Yeah. And, of course, at the beginning, I was like, oh, it's not fair. Everybody like your design. Nobody want to come get designed by me. Like, what's wrong with me? Why my design's not like da 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 da? So we used to bump heads. Like, I want to be a designer too. And then when I realized that I'm way better at taking care of like our back end, like I do all the contracting. I do all work.
He's a businessman.
I'm a customer service type person. I like to talk to people, make them feel good. Blah, blah. So if we have a conflict, I'm always there to resolve it. So if her and the customer are kind of going at it, I'll get in the middle like, hey.
I'm not really good.
I'm that type of person.
Yeah.
And that's when we realized, okay, definitely I can be, project manager, and she just be designer.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll help her out once in a blue moon with a design.
I always ask for his not approval, but I always ask for his final thoughts on a design. What do you think about this? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's clean? Things of that nature. So I always make sure that I try to incorporate him as much as possible and not get beside myself and send things before I'm actually speaking to him about it. But I think to transitioning out of the military, I think it was just something that I felt as though graphic design was possible, or having your own design studio was possible. But in the mainstream world or into society, I didn't look at that myself as an actual, this could be a career, this could be a job that you can actually do. Or I thought people would look down on me because I didn't finish my psychology degree and I didn't go. I don't have any traditional training in design whatsoever. I've never went to school for it. So I was kind of worried about that. But then I started to kind of just reach out to so many different designers that I was inspired by that's been in the game way longer than myself, and just kind of look and read their bios and read information up on them and just see how long they've been doing this. And
most of them,
most of them didn't go to school, or they had 2 years of a community college experience. So I was like, okay, this is possible. This is definitely possible. It was very hard for me to let go of my psychology because I only had a year left in psychology, my degree with psychology. But I was just like, okay, I'm going to trust God. We're going to trust God and really just kind of take this road. Was it easy to just let go?
No, it wasn't easy because, okay, when you're in the military, you get that first and 15 check.
It's steady.
It's coming. Mm-hmm. It's good. You got your health benefits. You can go to the doctor whenever you want. Blah, whatever the case is. There's a lot of different perks come with being active duty.
Right.
Then when you get out, you got to go through all the paperwork, file with the VA. Sometimes
it's scary.
Work out really well.
It's definitely scary.
And then when we got out, we were like, okay, so no more private checks. What we going to do?
So
I'm saying, rent is doing it first. But how we gonna handle that? So we went through a lot of that. So it was scary, but when you realize, when you put yourself in the mentality like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to make sure that we're taken care of. We're going to work as hard as we can.
It happens.
You get it done no matter what.
Yeah.
And the thing is, one of the things I want to point out to the Quit Your 9 to 5 listeners is, you had all the perks, because I know there's a lot of military perks and blah, 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 and the 15th and the 30th check, but that creates complacency. It's very, very easy to get caught up in the ordinary.
Right.
You can pay your bills, but, obviously you left because there was some lack of freedom. There was some lack of self-expression.
Yeah, because people always say to us, man, if you guys were, in the military and doing this, you guys would be making so much money. And we always say, hell, if we were still in the military, we would not be doing this.
Right,
this would not be a business. Because we will be so relaxed and so complacent. And that's a lot of things that we saw in the military with a lot of people. They let go of their dreams. They let go of what they really wanted to do before the military. So when we got out, a lot of our friends were like, y'all still living?
Themselves.
Y'all still, like, how y'all still living? I'm like, because we had a plan when we got in. And the plan was to be in for 6 years, him get his degree, go to school, let's get out. All right, cool. Service time in, but that was just we had a plan. Most people kind of get in and get so complacent.
Happy,
and I think that God had a plan for us to kind of stay in for the time that we stayed in, where to kind of teach us a lesson and get out, and we're now full-time entrepreneurs, and it's been a blessing.
And the thing is too, people get, I'm not talking about right or wrong here, because I have degrees and I understand that, and I had an amazing ride doing it, but people get so caught up in titles. They want to be the title before they actually become that, And what you did was, even though you didn't get your degree, you guys found a way to leverage each other's strengths to be successful. That's very important. People always want to be the title first, but you guys are I am designers.
Yeah, definitely.
And people have to understand that, and that's a powerful message.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that is a powerful message. And, I didn't finish my degree either. And sometimes you feel like, who am I? You said that earlier. Who am I nobody's going to take me seriously, or who am I because I didn't finish my training? But at the end of the day, nothing beats the School of Hard Knocks. So you had, being able to say you completed a course doesn't necessarily give you the skills to get the job done. So that, that means nothing. And I want people to understand that, because, a lot of times you'll hold back on pursuing something because you're like, well, let me just get this training, or let me get this certification under my belt without starting something. And you just got to step into your purpose and start something, and not let little things like that hold you back, because maybe that's not what you were supposed to be doing in the first place.
And quite frankly, I wish that YouTube and Google University existed back then, because I wouldn't have all the student debt now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the dynamics of your family definitely changed. So what did you guys have to do to prepare yourselves for entrepreneurship? Because you were doing it kind of part-time, and then you obviously transitioned into it full-time. So what were some of the things that you guys did to prepare yourself for doing it full-time?
I tell people as a suggestion. I mean, of course I'm telling people what we did. But before I even say that, but as a suggestion to folks out there, whatever the case is, if you're going to transition from 9 to 5 to a full-time entrepreneur, what you need to do is, this is what I told at the event too that we had. You calculate all of your bills for 1 month, and then you save up to 3 times as much. Mm-hmm. When you save up to 3 times as much, you put it in your account or whatever, and then you go ahead and transition from your 9 to 5 to your full-time entrepreneur. At least when you hit times where, because it's going to be slow, and when you hit times where it's going to be slow, you have that money to fall back on. But all right, I can still pay my bills at least for 3 months. Yeah. But as far as us, what we did, since it was so quick, we only had enough. We was only able to save about $3,000. So we left the military with about $3,000 in our pocket, and then I went and I took a course that they transition you from military life to civilian life, and they suggested that you would file for unemployment. And being a government employee, you can file for unemployment anywhere in the United States. So Hawaii was one of the highest paying unemployments, because they pay like $550 every week, or was it?
Nice.
Yeah, every week. So I was like, all right, let me go ahead and make sure I'm out here before I leave this island. So I did that. I took care of a lot of paperwork before I left. I made sure I knocked out a lot of paperwork. Did my VA stuff, did my unemployment. We did our savings or whatever the case is. So it was like a crash. I mean, we sold a lot of things too, and then so our move was lighter, and then we moved. Yeah. We got here to Georgia. Only reason why we moved to Georgia is because I did a lot of research prior to moving. Yeah. It was either between Georgia, Texas, California, Florida. Yeah. So then I was like, all right, let me look, and then I saw Georgia as far as the cost of living rate was was a bit even. It was manageable.
So we could have went back home to family. Like we could have been went the safe route. We could have been the safe route and went back. Not saying living with family, but more so living in the area with family. So if anything was to go wrong,
right? You had that.
Yeah, we were like 25 maybe when it happened. So we're 27 now, but we still were like that age where mommy and daddy could have definitely taken care if need be. But I think that we were just kind of like, okay, we're gonna just look. We looked at the cost of living here, like all that stuff. We just thought about, consider all of that. And we don't have much family here at all. We don't have any at all, if any. We know if we met people while we were here, but I think we just saved as much as we could. And that savings went by like that. 2 weeks later,
I know.
It's going now as we talk.
We were like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh my God. And I think even when we did the transition, because the thing about us is that we weren't just working a really top end job where we were like, okay, we're gonna leave now. It was more so like we were kind of pushed out, So the military were like, okay, so where you guys gonna go? We were like, Georgia. Okay, so we got our plane tickets. We got this. Shipped all our stuff.
Shipped our
cars. So it wasn't a normal move where it wasn't. I think it was in a sense where we tried everything where we could to stay in while we could, but God just kept pushing us out. And had we stayed in, we don't know where we would be, but we're grateful for the push that we did have to kind of get us to this point, because all that led up to this.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to acknowledge you for is basically what you did was you used, our podcast obviously is called Quit Your 9 to 5. So we're not demonizing 9 to 5s.
No.
But what I'm saying is you guys used your 9 to 5s as a vehicle for transformation.
Yes.
And that's what we're telling people, that, you want, hang in there, but we want to get you out of there so you can have your freedom, your self-expression, but use it as a vehicle of transformation to make the transition easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't want to be stupid about it. You don't want to just be like walking in the day and curse out everybody and be like, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No. Because then you're going to be looking like a fool later on, like, damn, I'm going to pay my bills. Now I'm in the street. I don't have no car no more. Everything's gone. So, I mean, you want to be very smart about it. Very strategic. You want to make sure you plan ahead.
Yeah.
Because, one, anything could happen. And two, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to burn any bridges just in case something does happen and you decide, hey, I may need to get back into the job and maybe work part-time.
Yeah.
At least to keep myself afloat. I can still be able to do that. But if you go and you decide you want to burn out all the bridges, you know what I'm saying, and not plan, you kind of screwed yourself.
And I think too, another thing with people, when they don't realize when you're working a 9 to 5, and people that do have that gut-wrenching desire to do entrepreneurship, they don't really know what it takes to actually do entrepreneurship until you actually do entrepreneurship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't know what it takes. And I think when you realize when you realize that you have the time, the energy, everything to put into entrepreneurship, you're going to go as hard as you need to go. But when you're actually like people like 9 to 5 people, like I said, not putting them down or anything like that, but all they know is just kind of that. And if you have that side hustle, you're not going to give all into it, because you have to commit to the 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
So if you actually put yourself, if you actually take, the leap of faith to actually, okay, I'm going to just do it. When you actually realize that you have no foundation to actually stand on, you're going to work harder. Like, absolutely. That's what it is. Like, we know that we can't go a month without working or putting out new work, because we got to pay rent, we got to pay car note, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to save money. If I don't do that, then it's like
absolutely, and just showing the distinction where we talked about complacency. When you go to your job, all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
That check is going to be there the 15th and the 30th. When you become an entrepreneur, it's a state of being.
Yes.
If you're not being the entrepreneur, there is nothing. You are going to be broke.
I agree.
And the freedom and that accountability just goes without saying. It's limitless. It's just an amazing feeling if you embrace it and become that entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's just not a title. It's an actual doing.
Yes. We were talking to, I don't know if you guys know who Julian Gordon is, but we were talking to Julian Gordon. We interviewed him for the show as well. And one of the things that he said is, like, when you're at a job, we're so used to being told what to do. You know, people give us orders and we take them and we fulfill them. Whereas now, you know, you're given work at a job, but now it's you're an entrepreneur but you're an entrepreneur. So now you have to create work. You know what I mean? You have to create work to do, and so you can easily get complacent when you're at your job and you know you're getting your check. We all good at looking busy so that we can keep that money flowing. You know, while we minimizing screens and doing stuff, working on our business on the side. But once you are, you know, fully in the swing of things, like if you don't work, you don't eat. And so that changes. We talk a lot about how that forces you to be a higher being of yourself, you know, and really step into your purpose and say, okay, what could I do to create money for me this month? What could I do to create possibilities for me this month? So,
and then a question to all of the Quit Your 9-to-5ers that are making that transition, that transformation into entrepreneurship. You have to always ask yourself, who am I going to be in the face of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that. They just, I'm an entrepreneur, you know, they
like the sound of it. It sounds good. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a business. I'm a web designer. I'm a this. But, you know, when it's time to actually put the work behind it, there's nothing there.
I'm like, okay, so if you're an entrepreneur, right? You have a business, all right? Have you done your LLC? Have you paid your taxes? Have you done trademark?
Wait, you left one good thing out. Have you paid yourself?
Yeah.
Listen, that takes a while to even realize. We were just saying, like last year, we our first year, you know, going full time. We made a great amount of money, but usually, like when the profit.
It's easy to make the revenue.
It's easy to make the revenue, but the profit, like you have to make sure that you pay yourself. Right. That's so important because you find yourself, because we've been there before. You find yourself just everything that you make, you put back into the business, or you put back into just other things, and you have nothing for yourself at the end of the day. So important. We had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know,
do the reverse. And you get paid by somebody and you going to buy shoes or you going to buy a new car or you know, doing all of this other foolishness and you're not investing it back into your business. So it definitely has to be a balance there if you want to have some kind of sustainability in this thing. You've got to pay yourself and you got to, you know, invest in your business so that you can continue to make it grow. People are just so excited to get $1 and they're like, oh my God, I'm going on a trip now. No, you need to be taking a piece of that, paying yourself, a piece of that, saving it, a piece of that, investing into the business, a piece of that, you know, doing whatever you got to do, because nobody's going to split your check up for you. Nobody, you know, when you work a job, you're paying insurance, but most of the times you don't see that money because your job takes that money from your check and they pays and covers your insurance.
Exactly.
Now you've got to be responsible for that. So how are you going to step up and be responsible to take care of those things?
And you ask some entrepreneurs, I'm an entrepreneur, so could you explain what you do in one word? They can't. Yeah. You know, I can clearly say that one word for me, transformation. Mm-hmm. You guys can say design. Mm-hmm. But people can't say anything. They just go right back to the word entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, yeah.
Okay. How is that transforming anyone's life? It's just a title to me.
And not only that, when you actually are doing the work and you actually are putting the blood, sweat, and tears into something, I don't think you even need to speak. Your work speaks for itself. Yeah, so I go around telling everybody we're entrepreneurs or we work. You know, if the conversations come up and if it's very convenient, then yes, I'm an entrepreneur. We work from home. We have, you know, a design studio. That's what we do. But I don't have to go around wearing my title. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it is. You know, so.
One of the things which you guys have each other, which is amazing. We talk a lot about support and being able to have, you know, somebody that's going to help you when you're making that transition into, you know, entrepreneurship full time, especially with you coming out of the military. It's like, you know, going out and being in the military to now deciding that you want to create a web design or a design, you know, studio. A lot of people are like, you're going to do what now? You know, so they don't understand that. So we always like to ask people about their support system. Did you have anybody, you know, that maybe didn't support what you were trying to do? And did you have any challenges with that?
I think it was more so my family.
Her family was very supportive.
My dad and my mom are very supportive.
My parents are not so much. My parents are typical Africans. Go to school, read your book, make sure you become a doctor, lawyer, architect, whatever, you know? So that's how they were. Even when I went in the military, they didn't even like me going to the military. Yeah. But then when I was leaving the military too, a lot of my higher-ups, a lot of my officers and everything like that, they will always ask you questions. So what are you going to do when you get out? I'm like, well, I got this going on, blah blah blah. And a lot of them are like, well, you sure that's going to be enough? Like, are you sure? Da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, trust me, I got it. I'm fine.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, even when I was getting out, there was a guy who was being forced. He was being forced to retire due to government thinning out the herd in a sense. They were cutting down on him. He said, I've been in 18 years. He was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get out. I was like, you didn't go to school? He was like, I mean, not really. Like, I have like an associate's, but it's an Air Force associate's. I'm like, well, what were you doing all this 18 years? He's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
That's like a similar statement that you hear when people come out of jail.
Yeah. It's real.
It's the same thing.
It's really real.
Same thing, because the military pays everything for you. You know what I'm saying? And then you have this thing where you can go to your LES and you can have everything automated. Everything automated.
You'll never have to communicate to any company to do anything because everything is paid for you.
Yeah.
And that was our case.
They don't know how to pay no bills.
Yeah, people don't know how to pay bills when they get out. So with us, I think it was just a matter of we were just like, no.
I got it, you know.
Yeah.
Even now, sometimes they'll hit me up like, man, you really taking care of yourself. I'm like, well, duh, what the hell you think?
Yeah, what did you think I was
What
going to
did
be
you
doing?
expect?
Definitely. So
But I mean, that's the impact that it has on people. So you're actually, showing people that I don't have to depend on someone to do anything for me. You know, not to say that you weren't grateful and it didn't provide a vehicle of transformation for you guys, but I mean, your story has to be inspiring. That's why they're calling you, and they're still just trying to figure out when are they going to make that change.
you know, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but how you got your business started. How did you get your first client? Like, how did you get that going?
Go ahead.
Okay. I think it was just more so like we did the local special. He suggested that we do that. I thought that was a great thing. I think that kind of got us out there a little bit more. And then I was working with a girl named Mia Ray, Confessions of a Glamaholic. Love her to death. She really believed in a lot of the stuff that we did. She was the client that kind of came when nobody else was there. And then people liked what I did for Confessions. So there was a woman named Arian Simone that reached out to Mia Ray and pretty much was like, who does this? Do you have anybody? Arian Simone is a celebrity publicist and she's been in the game for almost 10 to 15 years, or I think for a while. Yeah, she has done major public relations work on major films. So she took us on to do design work for her. Lord, if Arian only knew, I did not know what I was getting myself into because I had not even had any experience to do what she took me on to do.
We don't know why.
At all. So we did everything from her complete rebranding to her website design to her pillow design, like everything. Like it was just like she had a complete stationery. I had never done anything like that before whatsoever. So she kind of took me out of my element to do things that I had never done before, and she really believed in us to do like her complete branding. When we had Arian Simone, it was nothing but a trickle effect after that. When we did her website, inquiry after inquiry, work after work, it was just like a load of just blessings that came in. So I think it was just more so our to get our ideal client, we worked hard. Like I put a status up the other day on Facebook and I said I would love to say we had a strategic plan for how this came about, but we didn't. We really did not have a strategic plan. It was just literally just faith and hard work. Like that's just what we did.
You just simply jumped.
Jumped.
And then the parachute opened.
Listen, okay? Steve Harvey, we just watched that
but when he was talking, I was like, "Yep, this is exactly what we did."
We took a leap, and like I said, that jump was not an easy jump. It was I cried many a days. Like, how is this even going to? How's it even going to work?
A lot of finger pointing and blaming.
Blaming.
We know how that goes.
Yeah, you did this to me. This was your idea.
Exactly.
Because you didn't let me do what I wanted to do. You're ridiculous and blah blah blah. And
I mean that's bound to happen. We're human, but the fact is that you didn't give up. You put yourself out there, and look what that has gotten you. You've been able to work with some amazing people, some talented people, some well-known people that has actually helped to bring your business just from you being you and doing what you do best, and being one of the things that we always talk about is sometimes you've got to do something that is uncomfortable. It makes you uncomfortable. You could have easily told, Ariane, like, listen, I don't know how to do that, or referred her to somebody else, and you was like, nope, I'm gonna figure this out. And you figured it out and you rocked it, and that in turn got you other stuff and other opportunities. So you stepped into, you were still working in your purpose, but you stepped into a zone that was uncomfortable and was able to take a chance. And so, that's kind of what we want people to know. Like, we're not going to tell you to do something stupid and not have a plan and just jump and everything is going to work itself out and your parachute is going to open and you're going to be like, oh, this is beautiful. No, that's not how it's going to work. But you've got to be willing to take certain risks. You've got to be willing to do something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, because if you stay in that comfortable zone, you're never going to get out of it. Ever.
You look like a midget in this chair right
now.
I
do look like a midget. Why am I so low?
That was just a side note, but just you're like a midget in the chair right now. But anyway,
that's because I'm sitting all
basically,
the way back.
like my coach and friend coaching programs that I was in, he made a really, Julian Gordon, the same guy, he made a great point. See, a lot of people do things in chronological order. So that's like going to school. You go to school, you get the degree, and then you start the career, right? Yeah. But what you just experienced is you guys operated in illogical order with an I. And you didn't have a clue how you was going to service this Ariane Simone lady, and you found out a way. That's jumping. Mm-hmm. Without the, before that parachute, of course, while you jumping and you're flying in the air, all kinds of debris, bird poop, all kinds of stuff is going to hit you. But the parachute eventually opened, and you figured it out. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about.
Yeah.
True.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
We definitely
we went through a lot. I mean, because it was like putting yourself on like this. We did a lot of crash course. That's what it was. It was a crash course for everything. Crash course for business. Crash course for design. Right. Crash course for learning. Well, we had to learn. I had to learn Illustrator on the fly because I had a client who needed something printed, and I initially sent him something printed. I sent him the file via a PSD, which was Photoshop. And he printed it out, and it came out horrible. He spent $300 on this banner, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get sued. Like, oh shoot, like I just messed up this dude's project. Yeah. But he was patient with me, and he was like, "Bro, you gotta put it in Illustrator." So I did Illustrator. I didn't know what the hell I was doing in Illustrator, so I had to learn it quickly. I learned that. And we did all the packaging. We did packaging design for one client. We didn't know what we were doing, and then we were like, "Oh, okay, well, we gotta figure it out."
But it prepared for the next client.
Yeah, the next client.
It came out well. We learned. We YouTube, we Googled, things like that. But usually when you're an entrepreneur and you are, you didn't get any traditional training, those are the things that you have to do. Those are the things in the back end. But you make sure. I know when I used to design on my phone, my sister used to say, I used to always look at myself a little bit down, look down on that. And she would say, at Q, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you're doing it. All they know is that you're producing it. That's all they know. That you're producing the product at the end of the day, and you're giving them exactly what they want. Thank God I'm not in that space anymore, and I can be a little bit more confident. And not only that, I can actually price our pricing at places that needs to be, because I know I'm actually doing quality design work. I'm actually doing, a quality design. I'm taking my time actually doing what needs to be done, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
And Ku, I'm glad you mentioned that, because pricing is like one of the biggest questions that come up when you're starting, your business, and you don't want to be too high and you don't want to be too low, and you especially when you're kind of unsure about what you're doing. So how did you guys even come to, did you feel like you priced yourself when you started the right way, or did that take time for you to kind of figure out how you wanted to position yourself in the market? Because that's one of the questions that I get so much about, how to price yourself when you're starting out.
I did all the pricing. And originally, of course, we were very, very, very modest about it, right? So we priced like super duper low. And I'm like, okay, this is going to get us tons of clients, because they're going to come, blah, blah, blah. That was the wrong idea. Mm-hmm. And I learned that. Like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? You're just killing yourself at work. You're slamming yourself.
Overworking, underpaid.
Letting them off the hook.
Exactly. We were overworked, underpaid. We didn't know a lot of different things when it came to our provisions. We could just we can go back and change it as many times as you want. I spent 8 hours with one client on FaceTime.
On our anniversary.
My birthday.
Oh, sorry.
On my birthday.
They all the same once they get married.
Yeah.
On my birthday, I spent 8 hours with this client working on one project. And we talking about 8 hours straight. I was literally at work. Like, it was ridiculous. Yeah. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. You don't do this. When I did research, I'm like,
and to get paid pennies for it?
Pennies. I mean, because when you divide how many hours you put into the work versus how much you were getting paid, you realize something don't add up. You're like, okay, yeah, there's something going on. So what we did was we made adjustments. Initially, when you first start pricing yourself, you price yourself at a nice median, and then as you build up a rapport with people and people start to know who you are, then you start to increase. But if you are getting a flood of inquiries, then your prices need to go up so that your inquiries can decrease and the amount that you're making is equal now. Because if you're going to put a lot of work into one project, you need to get paid for it. Right. You're not going to get a bunch of projects and get paid for all these tiny little things. You're just going to be burnt out. Yes, you're going to be very tired. Yeah. So what we do is I always do an increase every 6 months. Mm-hmm. I do an increase. So
January 1, so y'all better get in now with them because they got an increase coming in 6 months. Get in.
We just did a price increase January 1, and then we're going to do another one this July.
Yeah, because I know we're working on a really big project right now that I can't really speak about, but I'm working on a really big client. I know that client, we put the website out, I know it's going to bring in a different clientele, a totally different clientele from the work that we do. So I'm so grateful for that. But I know that right now, as of January 1, we did increase our pricing. So we got clients. We probably going to do it before that. So our clients, I know it's going to be a bigger demand, and not only that, but a bigger platforms, because when you have to do actually so much more stuff, it's not even more so just, I'm just going up on my logo price or going up on my website. It's not even that. It's just more so you're now working with just a technical aspect of a web design. I'm working with a developer, so I have to work on making sure that this is perfect, this is all of that. And it's not, I always tell people, don't price your pricing on just the design. Price your pricing on also the revision. The work that goes after that is really what it is. Because I can design something real clean and real bomb for you, but at the end of the day, it's that revision of tweaking things and making sure the hours that goes into that. And it's like, I don't have time for this. If I do have time for it, I'm going to make time for it. I'm going to get paid for it. Yes. I'm going to get paid for it. And honestly, pricing yourself at a higher price bracket, it really is very nervousing because you're scared that you're going to eventually, send away your old clientele, turn people away. But reality is what Ariel Simone taught me was that, the clients that want you are the clients that can afford you. And that's what I believe. So if you can't afford anything that I do, I'm sorry, you're not my client. Because if you love my work, if you're obsessed with my work, and you love what I do, and you comment on my Instagram, my Facebook, then you're going to pay.
Yeah. Want to like every motivational comment, want to like every design. And when it's time to pay money, if there was an unlike button, oh man, could you imagine?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I always use this analogy. I'm like, you cannot walk into Louis Vuitton and tell them, hey, I want a discount, or hey, this is too expensive.
I love this bag. Is there any way that you can bring this price down?
I'd say the same thing. Yeah. Like, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. So why do you think you can do that to my business? You're not going to be like, oh, I love those shoes so much, and I know they $700, but like, could you give it to me for like $3? You're not going to do that. You're not going to walk into any of these stores and do that. You're going to
save up money, and then you're going to go back later and buy it.
Yeah.
And then the whole premise of that is they found a way. So if you really need this product, you're going to find a way. I don't care if you don't have a dime to your name. Most of the people that buy these high ticket items don't have money anyway, so they say in their mind, but they always find a way to look the best out of everybody. You think they would have $1 million until it's time for them to pay for a program.
Exactly. And not only that too, is that I take pride in the designs that I do and what we do, and I'm never one to even ever toot my own horn. But when I'm good at something, I'll say it behind the scenes. But I know that the way that we brand ourselves and the way our own brand look, I wouldn't expect for anyone to come to us and be like, can I get this for the logo? No, you cannot. You see what I produce. You see what I've done with our own company. You see what I've done aesthetically with other brands. Why would you think that it's okay for you to shortchange what I do? So now when I get those emails and I'm sending out proposals and it's within digits that you probably were, oh, I didn't expect this. And you come back and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't afford it. Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Good luck on your branding journey. I'm not going to go back and forth with you and say, okay, so what is your...
Right.
I'm going to do that. I did that before, and when I did that, those are the clients that sucked me dry. Yeah. Excuse me. They literally pulled everything out of me, and by the time I got done, I was just great. I was tired.
And that blood sucking vampire like activity has shut down many businesses.
Exactly.
Period.
So I'm making sure that now if I have to take on a certain amount of clients, a certain amount that I want each month in terms of design, then we'll take on that and be good. I'd rather take on a smaller amount and be good and can breathe easily as opposed to taking on more and getting that. No, don't need it.
Absolutely. You don't want to get caught up in quantity over quality. You know,
Exactly.
with quality. Let me get my life together.
Get your life together.
Quality clients. You want quality clients, and people get caught up. Oh, I got such and such amount of clients, but like you said, you know, that A is going to burn you out, and B, you know, those are the people that really suck you dry, that want the discounts, that want everything from you. And what people don't realize about pricing, and I want to say this before I move on to the next thing, is we're so afraid to put ourselves out there and charge a higher fee because we feel like we're going to turn people off. But one thing that I found is that when you charge what you feel you are worth, what you're valued at, whether that's a higher fee or not, but most times it's higher, you not only step into a different, you know, level of yourself, but you're forcing that other person to step into a higher level of themselves too, because you want somebody to take your work and what you're doing serious and themselves serious. And somebody that's not, you know, I always say people don't value what they don't pay for. And if they don't pay top dollar for it, if they don't, you know, it's something if you bought something that was $5 and you broke it or you lost it now, whatever, I'll get another one. It was $5. If you spent $500 or $5,000 on that, you're going to treat it with special care. And so that's exactly how I want you to treat yourself when you're dealing with me and my business.
They buy them Louis Vuitton shoes and, man, they wear it one time.
Yeah, all the time.
You know, Louis Vuitton shoes. No. I'm not talking about the red bottoms.
Okay.
I said Louis Vuitton. You knew what I was talking about.
He's like, I know.
I mean, come on. I mean,
all right,
but
fine.
yeah. So anyway, okay.
So tell me, guys, you know, what are some of the things that you said that it's been a year since you guys have went full-time into your business. So what were some of the things that you've been able to do for yourself, for your business, for your life? You know, a year ago to now, what have you been able to do to really impact your life and your business? I can't hear you guys anymore. Are you there? Hello? Say something. Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so if you said to impact our life and our
so
business.
what things have you been able to accomplish since you guys have been doing this full time? Because most of the time, a lot of times people are like, oh, this is my first year of business, I'm struggling, and it's not easy when you're trying to do it. But being able versus, let's say it was that same year you spent it in the military versus this year now that you've spent together working on your business, how has that changed your lives?
We've met a lot of people.
Yeah, I think
we traveled a lot.
We traveled a lot more. Saved
a lot more.
Yeah.
We've gotten a whole different appreciation for life in general.
Yeah.
So now you look at everything and you're not looking at it as just an activity anymore. You're looking at it more so like, how can I maximize my time rather than, you know, I'm just playing around. When you are out and about, majority of the times you're looking at people, you're looking to have a good time, you're looking to talk, you're looking to connect, but now you're looking to network now because you're an entrepreneur. You're like, okay, so what do you do? Oh, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so maybe we connect on this project later on down the line and maybe something can happen.
Yeah.
You know, so we've definitely gotten that. We definitely look like when we're walking around, we're looking at signs differently. Like, oh, that farm looks pretty cool. Oh, that's pretty clean.
Yeah, you look at everything so differently. Even the air smells different. When you go on vacation, that mango tastes so sweeter. It's just ridiculous. I mean, that margarita is just.
No, I can definitely attest to that.
I think it has definitely made our marriage stronger as well. Only because I think when we were in the military, we were living two separate lives. I was in school for psychology. He was in the military. We were speaking two different languages. So when I was at home, if I wasn't cooking, I wasn't doing anything. Whereas now he's in school for design. I'm at home designing all day long, and he does the business aspect of it. But I think we're speaking the same language now, and we understand each other a little bit more. And I think the adversity and all the things that we went through brought us to this place, so we're now a little bit more understanding. I think we're speaking the same love language. We're understanding each other a little bit more. Yes. We're actually on the same page on what we want to do. He's listening to my ideas, I'm listening to his, and at the end of the day, we know that it's for the greater good of the company and for our marriage as well. And
all under that umbrella, whether you disagree to agree, you argue, you love each other. That word love is immersed in all of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it just takes your communication and language, like you said, to levels that are limitless. It's crazy.
Yes.
It's so funny that you made the comment about you guys being on the same page, because I remember Damien saying something like that to me when I had finally quit my job. He had taken the plunge many years before me, but when I quit my job, he was just like, I'm so happy that we're finally on the same page. And it really makes a difference because, like you said, yeah, you're partners, and you're on the same page. We're partners, and we love each other. But you were speaking two different languages. Like, we were speaking two different languages and didn't even realize it. So now that we're both working, on the same accord on all levels, not just the marriage side of it or the love side of it or the parental side of it, but on all levels, it really makes a difference in our lives too. So I can definitely attest to that.
And when I took the leap of faith and I jumped many, many years ago, and and she was working, yes, we were grateful for that. Oh boy, we were. But we were unevenly yoked financially.
Oh yeah.
And when she made that jump, it just put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and that was one of the most, other than being married to her and having my children, that was one of the best days of my life.
Look at that. That's nice. I don't like no mushy. I ain't gonna come with this mushy stupidity.
I think too, and I think another thing as well is because I work with my husband, and I'm quite sure you guys work together as well, and I think that a lot of this whole movement of womanpreneur or entrepreneurship with the women, I can't really understand that, so I don't really kind of operate in that realm. I operate in the realm of I work with my spouse. I this is who I reference, and this is who we work together. So I think another thing too is that I can't relate. I know that's a really big thing right now.
Even though people try to push that on her.
Yeah, push that on me.
Because they make it seem like, oh, she's the owner.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I work with my husband. A lot of people reference only me, and I'm like, no, I work with my husband. Understand this. I had one girl who was like, it's so good that your husband works for you. I said, no, baby, he doesn't work for me. We work together.
But that's how, like you said, when you get to the level that you've gotten to, you hear things, you see signs differently. This is how people hear us.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's our responsibility, especially me and you, the guys. We gotta. There's something we gotta do. We gotta take a stand for this. Because
I make sure that people understand that it's a husband and wife team, and I make sure that's in the bios and that's in everything that you see on the website. We are a husband and wife team. I'm the creator, but I don't really know business like that. And had it not been for him, this company would not be where it is today. So I need people to understand that no, I am not I'm not this feminist. I'm not this. I'm woman. I'm not that. That I am a husband, and we are a husband and wife team. We work together. We work well together, and he is my business partner. So yeah.
And in one of our previous podcasts with Julian Gordon, again, we giving him mad challenge. You better send me some checks. But anyway, just kidding. One of the first things that we asked him was, so tell us what you do. He said, the first thing that I can say that I am is a husband and a father.
Listen.
And that was just amazing to hear, because, honestly, man, the men, I don't know where we at, man. Where are we?
Did you see that?
I have been looking.
Where are we?
There's no one there. I have been looking, no one there. I asked my wife, I'm like, why is it that when I look on Instagram, I see all these businesses being run? All I see is chicks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when you host an event and you want people to come out,
it's nothing but women. It's nothing.
Why is it that only women are the ones stepping up and saying, hey, I want to take the bull by the horns and I'm about to handle life? Where my dudes at?
And I challenge you and myself that we grab the bull by his horns and restore that balance because we need it.
It definitely is very prominent these days where it's like women are at the forefront. And I'm saying that women can't be there because it's cool. Because I'm quite sure from where we came from to where we are today, it's definitely
I love it.
step up. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's very important for those women that are married, like myself and you, we're married and we work with our husbands. So what about us?
Right.
I'm not necessarily all about that movement because I work with my husband and I don't ever want him to feel as though he's in the back burner of everything when I know that he's doing just as much work as I am into this business. So
exactly, and that's why we, not I, but we were excited to talk to the both of you because it was like, okay, yes, this is what I'm talking about. You know, two people working together, they're partners, husband and wife. You don't see a lot of that happening around, you know, these days. And not to knock the women's movement because, you know, the women are doing their thing out there, and I'm very proud of them and the accomplishments that they've done. But we gonna elevate the men soon. The men got to get elevated.
But again, exactly. Where are we? Where are we?
Yeah, let's be clear. We're going to clarify that it is the African American.
What do you mean?
Women that we're talking about.
Right.
Because you see plenty of white folks who are together.
Right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they handling it like what was the other company? Was it Ashley Malone?
Ashley Malone. You have
these two.
They support
a man and a wife. The wife is the designer. The man is the developer. And they're killing the game when it comes to this graphic design stuff. I mean, they are smashing it.
But they always reference each other, and I always make sure
and you always
that
see
people know. Like even like when I went to last year, I went to Designer Vacay. It's a women's retreat for like graphic designers from all over the world came to this event. But there were husbands there supporting their women, and like like they were still making sure that you reference your man. Like that's so important to know that they're there, your backbone. Even if they're not working with you on the front line, it's very important. Like if they're supporting you, if they're doing something, but make sure that element is there. Whereas we're just doing this thing where because I think that sometimes can send a message that maybe they're not needed or they're not wanted, things like that. So I want to make sure.
Yeah, you said it right. this is girl power, and I don't need a man, and that's not. That's
and it's funny you say that because we also have a tax business, and I would tell you that 99.9% of our clients are women. Where the hell are the men? This is a wolf cry. I am crying for you. Help. I need you. Help.
We're going to pull them out. We're going to pull them out. So to wrap this up, guys, I want you to tell us your one piece of advice that you would give to anybody, a couple, whoever, who really wants to step into their purpose and live their passion full time, but then maybe they're working a full time job or they're undecided on what to do. So what kind of advice would you guys give?
First of all, you can't be scared. I'm not going to say, because I want to say a different word, but I'm trying to keep PG-13. So, I'm saying you can't be tiptoeing around. You can't be tiptoeing. You have to actually, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to jump in with 2 feet. Okay? Because if you try to stick that one toe in and think you're going to, it's just not going to happen.
Yes.
You're not going to realize your full potential. You're not going to know what you can do until you're forced to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Just like how, when you throw somebody in the wilderness, you won't even know if that person's going to be able to survive until they're out there. It's the same thing. It's like if you really just don't take that plunge, you're really not going to realize your full potential.
Definitely.
So my advice to people is literally, of course, do it smart. Save up, make sure you have something to fall back on, but at the same time, just go ahead. Just do it. Just jump.
Yeah, I think for me, it's when I was growing up, I had an uncle that told me, what's the one thing that you would do, that you love so much that you would do so much that you could do it for free. And that was something that stuck with me my whole life. I tried to do architecture. I tried to do journalism. I tried to do so many things. I changed my major so many different times. But I didn't realize that at the core of everything, I was still a designer, and that was a thing that couldn't go away from me. So if that was a thing that I knew that eventually, okay, if I do it so much and I learn more and more and more and more, this can actually become my career. This is what I can do for the rest of my life. I love it. It's the thing, like I said, the thing that will not go away from me. And I think it's something that in you that you're so great at, that you're so amazing at, and you want to actually take a stab at it. Just give yourself that chance to even do it. Because if you don't, you're going to always just look back and think about the what ifs and what ifs. The what could I have done better if I would have just taken that chance. And the one thing about life is that you can't go back. You cannot get time back. You cannot it's impossible. So take that leap of faith to just do what needs to be done. It is very scary. I'm not going to say that it's a smooth journey because it's not. But in order for you to understand and know what your potential is, or if you can even go that far, or if you're even capable of doing that very thing, you have to take the chance. However, that it may not be tomorrow, it may not be 30 days from now, it may be 2 years from now, but at least try to even give yourself that chance to see if it's capable or if it's possible.
Awesome. Yes. And even with the language, like I'm just listening to your language because I'm a coach. I'm always really actively listening. If you ever listen to someone who's complacent, they always talk in regards to destination. When you talk to entrepreneurs, we always talk about journeys. It's a never-ending. Journeys never end. Destinations do.
Yeah. And the journey is so much better than the actual destination because that's what builds you. That's definitely what builds you. Definitely. So I definitely would just say, take the leap of faith. And have people around you that support you because it makes that process that much easier.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not talking about financial support, just that moral support. Someone who's there who's going to cheer you on, your cheerleader. Hey, you can do it. You can do it. I know it's difficult right now. I know you feel like life is just like hitting you, like beating you up right now, but you can make it through it.
But I think even if you have that opposition as well, that could be a motivating factor as well. Yeah, because not that you have something to prove to people, but you just have something to prove to yourself. Like people really think I don't have the ability to do this, so you're gonna work even harder. You're gonna work, So I think both ends are like just to kind of be in the middle, just have the support, and then maybe the non-support will still kind of get you
to pressure builds diamonds.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
And pretty much, it's not about proving people wrong; it's about proving yourself right.
There it is. Yep.
There it is. You got it. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. That was amazing. I'm so glad that we got you guys here together, sharing your stuff with us. Tell the good people out there where they can find you guys.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us all over the net.
Yeah. Also, you can find us at
houseofwan.co.
So that's HOUSEOFEBBUOMWAN.co. And then same name for Instagram. And then we have individuals. Mine is Ekiwa, EKIUWA.
Mine is OSAYA.E.
Yeah.
So
we just gonna put that on the pod.
Thanks so much for listening to the Quit Your 9 to 5 podcast with your hosts, Tamisha and Damian Duncan. We'll catch you next time.